Okay, today we're going to have a hemshech to the shiur of yesterday. The gabay taking your child to the mikveh. We already had the shiur yesterday. What lechatchila we said not to do it, but there was a kav zchus that we brought from Aruch HaShulchan. Why we brought another kav zchus? Why you could do it? People do it. The minhag olam, they take their children to the mikveh. Now I want to say maybe somebody wants to be a super machmer, going to say since the best thing is not to do it, so I'll send my child alone and I'm going to go separately. And the people do that. Sometimes they wait in the car, they send the child first and they come back, then they go, or vice versa. So it's like this. We're going to learn today that lav davka, that's sometimes chumras doesn't bring to good results. Sometimes chumras bring to adverse results. Maybe it's not the best idea. And that's what we're going to learn today. That's known story from the story is said by the Rabbi Sol Salanter or Rabbi Chaim Brisker. The same story, I think, Rabbi Shlomo Zevin in this sefer bring the story from Rabbi Chaim Brisker. They say one time was in Russia a big magefa. A lot of people died from certain sickness. I think it was the malaria, cholera, whatever it was. And that year was in Poshut Sakona to fast on Yom Kippur. People needed to have koyach. There was a big sickness going around, and Reb Chaim gave a heter on that Yom Kippur to eat, but he saw a lot of people would not Yom Kippur, they want to hold Yom Kippur, and they wouldn't want to eat. So they said that year he made after Ma'ariv by the Yom Kippur night, he made a kiddush publicly to show them I'm eating also, so you must eat. That's what they did. So people saw it's a serious business. Reb Chaim himself making a kiddush on Yom Kippur night, and he's eating to show everyone you have to eat today. It's a sakona. Then he saw in the city going rumors that the Reb Chaim Brisker is kaldas, is not serious. Come to halacha. He made the kiddush on Yom Kippur. It was mezalzel Yom Kippur. So when Reb Chaim Brisker heard the rumors, he told them, you should know, I'm not a kaldas. I'm a big machmir. I'm very, very take halacha very seriously, and I'm machmir and pikuach nefesh. I'm not at the pshat. I was mezalzel in Yom Kippur. I'm machmir and pikuach nefesh. Something over here. You want to be machmir on certain things, but then you're going to be mekel. Is going to bring to adverse result when you do that chumrah, especially over here. Here's what I'm going to talk to you about. I think the bechinas of today, taking children to mikveh today is bechinas pora aduma. My pora aduma says as metaher es atameim umetame es atahoirim. The pora aduma. So people who knows who going to mikveh, what kind of elements over there. Sometimes they do things they're not supposed to do. And if you don't send if you don't go with your child to mikveh, sometime is vulnerable. Who knows what could be done over there? So to be very careful, watch him all the time. You again, a lot of people go there. Depends also which mikveh, and at sometimes he could be vulnerable for some predators over there. That's the place the predators would go. Oh, so here is l'choira. Everything we have to find a source in halacha. How we do things, and not just what the halacha, what the Gemara Chazal telling about this. So the end of Maseches Kiddushin, Daf Pei Beis, there's a Mishnah over there. Rabbi Yehuda Omer lo yire ravok behema v'lo yishnu shnei ravokim betalis achas, meaning somebody unmarried. Rabbi Yehuda says he should not be a shepherd with animals, and same thing two ravokim, two unmarried boys should not, unmarried men should not sleep with one cover, because they might come to an Isur of Mishkav Zochor. It's allowed to. So the Gemara says about this, Tani, Amr Rabbi Yehuda. Chachamim told Rabbi Yehuda why it's not a problem, a ravak, somebody, a bachelor, that could be a shepherd, or two ravokim, two bachelors could sleep in the same bed and the same cover. Because Chachamim Rabbi Yehuda, L'nechshedu Yisrael al Mishkav Zochor v'lo ala behema. Baruch Hashem, among the Jewish people who didn't have that problem, that pandemic, that they have, they're going to do Mishkav Zochor, or Mishkav the Behema, those two of them is Chayav Misa, we have other problems. That was not our problem. So L'choyre, you could say, according to this Gemara, Halacha lak Chachamim, Rabbi Yehuda is a Yochid, L'choyre, if Halacha lak Chachamim, you could say so. Why should we Choshed such a thing? Lo nechshedu. So if there's lo nechshedu, so it should be no problem. However, it's brought in Even Ezer, Tur Even Ezer, Siman Chavdalet, that exactly this the lashon of this Gemara. Yisrael on nechshedu al mishkav zochur, val mishkav behema. Lefichach, and that's why halacha lechachamim mutar lisyached imam, meaning could be two bochrim in the same room, It could be a bocher with behema that he shepherds the same room, but yichid, in yichud there's no chashad that they might do something shady. Va'machmir al atzmo. That's the addition that the Tur adds. Va'machmir al atzmo shelo yisyached afilu im behema. Meaning a boy with a boy or the member machmir. It should not be yichud over there. He says, "V'lo im ovi, even im ovi, which is two of here, zocher and zocher, and it's his father. Harez meshubach, harez meshubach." So what do you see from here? Where that's coming from? Where that's coming from? Harez meshubach. Why? What do you take? Where the Torah takes it from? From the Halacha Chachamim. Mashma, there's no problem whatsoever. But it's not so posh. The daf before that, by Aleph Amud Beis, Mashma Shmuel was big machmir on it, but the Maaseh Ravashi Paskan the Halacha over there, like Chachamim. So that's why somebody showing him holds that we should be concerned with the shita of Shmuel, that mitzad halacha we're not choshed al mishkav zochor by Bnei Israel mitzad halacha. However, that the mitzad we're not choshed them, but there could be a concern. Whoever is machmir tov olav bracha. He's the lashon of the mechaber in the same siman chav daled. He says u'b'doires halalu. He passed him like the Tur. No, same thing. U'b'doires halol. He talks about he lived approximately 500 years ago. The mechaber, approximately. U'b'doires halol. In our generation, say sherobu hapritzim, meaning people. There's a lot of people that are porutz already. They're not the way they should be. Yesh li'israchek me'li'isyached im hazocher. We have to be careful not to misyached even im hazocher. So that one says like this. All this inyonim is svara. It's nothing to do. It's one thing could be in the text, one thing is in a practical life and in reality. So since the things happen already in the Mikveh, especially vulnerable people and the predators, they know who's vulnerable, who not. They go after them. So that's why the best thing is in this Indian, the father should not be Chanyok, Machmir, I'm not going with my son together. Either don't send him to Mikveh from the Machmir on it, but if you send him, don't send him alone. Go and mashgiach on him and watch him, because who knows what it could bring. And many times things happen for a long time till they got somebody, but Lamafreya, they know there was so many victims over there. So if to be a Chacham and a Barisha, to be more on a preventive side rather than deal with the problem after the tzraf. So Lamai says like this, you don't have to be such a big Machmir. Again, if you want your son to go to me, you should go with you and watch him over there. And if you want to send him alone, better not to send him the place where he's vulnerable, then send him over there and then find out there was a problem. Okay.